In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I set boundaries with patients, colleagues, and leadership, and why this is one of the most important skills that NPs were never formally taught. When people hear boundaries, they often think about saying no. But in primary care, boundaries are rarely about refusal. They're about structure and expectations and containment and communication. If you don't define your boundaries, your work will expand until it fills your entire life. Let me show you what that looks like in practice. One of the most important boundaries in primary care is keeping visits focused on what actually builds the plan of care. That doesn't mean cutting patients off mid-sentence. It means gently redirecting tangents that don't deepen your understanding or change the management of a patient's condition or needs. Time spent on unrelated stories is time taken away from decision making, and that doesn't make the work disappear later. What happens is that work shows up as after hours charting. If you have a 15-minute visit, you cannot safely or adequately address a year's worth of problems in that time frame. So I tell patients respectfully and directly, we're not going to be able to cover everything that's on your mind today, but we will focus on one or two of your top priorities as well as cover certain health maintenance tasks. And then I'm going to schedule you for a follow-up visit to address the rest. That boundary protects clinical quality, patient trust, and time outside of your working hours. Portal messages and phone calls are part of the job, but they can very easily take up all your time if you don't set limits. Here's what I explain during the visits. I don't evaluate new problems by phone or via the portal. A new concern is always going to require a visit. Dangerous symptoms will require emergency care. Don't write to me on the portal and tell me that you're bleeding or that you're having difficulty breathing. Also, I explain how results are handled. I don't call for normal results. I also don't call for abnormal results that don't change the plan of care. I do call for serious or urgent abnormalities that require a change in management. For example, mild cholesterol elevation, that gets a portal message. Bacterial vaginosis or mild iron deficiency, that gets a portal message and a prescription. New diabetes or severely reduced GFR gets a phone call and a new appointment to discuss the next steps. This clarity reduces the patient's anxiety, cuts out unnecessary phone calls, and keeps that unbillable inbox work from taking over the time and space you have for that billable work like your patient visits. Boundary setting isn't just for your relationship with your patients. It matters with colleagues too. This is where a lot of high-performing nurse practitioners get punished. Boundary setting with colleagues involves delegating tasks that do not require medical decision-making, delaying responses to non-urgent requests, and declining tasks that are non-urgent and not important for your role. I talk more about this in another video on how people get punished for being good at their jobs, and I'll link that below. Finally, boundary setting with leadership is just as important as all the rest. If your role is expanding, 1 to 3 things must change: pay, patient load, or non-patient facing time, such as administrative time. If none of those things change, you have accepted unpaid after hours work. It's going to burn you out. It won't take you long to realize that you're being exploited, but it's hard to change the situation after the fact, after you've already accepted it. If it truly is a promotion, then there should be a changeable change in your pay or changing your workload. And if it's a temporary project or a special circumstance, then the work needs to fit within paid hours, or you should be compensated for the extra time it's going to take for you to get the work done. Anything else is asking you to donate your labor. Boundary setting is not about being difficult. It's about making primary care sustainable by deciding what belongs in a visit, what belongs in the inbox, and what belongs within paid time. If you want help building the systems, the visit structure, the inbox rules, the delegation, and the workload boundaries, I teach all of this in Chart Smart Mastery. And if you want a smaller start, I've linked my NP workflow and survival guide below.